as we think about how to ensure the success of digital transformation, ensure that the organization supports and changes so that it can succeed, we're really talking about adoption. How do the different parts of our organization adopt a change or willingness to change to adapt to the new platform, the new technology? And when we think of adoption, we're really thinking about the experience for those four stakeholders. Just like to remind you who those stakeholders are. It's the end user, which would be a customer experience or a customer or an employee. It's the people who are in the company, in the platform participants. It's the administrator of the platform, and it's the companies and organizations that are also part of it, who are either vendors to that or participate in the platform. Those are the four stakeholder groups. We have to engineer this platform so that they'll be adopted. And when we think about that, it's really the experience of the individuals in these stakeholder groups that is so important. If they have a good experience, they're likely to want to adopt it. If they have a poor experience, they're likely to resist it, and hence the 70% or 73% failure rate of these digital transformations or above. So we at Everest Group have then taken that and started to investigate, well, what is a good experience? So, and we've broken this down by the four stakeholder groups. Let me give you an example with perhaps the most important stakeholder group, customer experience or employee experience. They behave very similarly. Okay? So when we look at a customer experience, we look, well, what makes for a good customer, what's a good meta model for a good customer experience in a digital platform? And there are a lot of things that go into this, but there are really three pillars that turn out to be extremely important. And these three things are that the platform has to anticipate the customer's needs. It has to be complete, so it has to not give them a partial answer, but a complete answer. And it has to be timely. So now if those are three super important components of a good experience, let's now see how we use those to inform our decisions, so we invest in the right things and only the right things on this journey. So let's take the issue of anticipation. If you're going to anticipate someone's needs, you're going to have to know who they are. And that requires a PII, a personal identified information. So many of these platforms we investigate have no central repository for the individual. We treat them as categories or personas, not as people. Consequently, we can't anticipate what is needed for the individual. We can only anticipate the category. And this falls far short. So let's start with needing to build a central repository of everything we do. A good example of this would be Amazon. For example, if you're an Amazon Prime, which most of us are, and you buy something, when you go to the checkout, it suggests your credit cards, the ones you've already used. It knows you've used these credit cards, suggests the ones you've often used, allows you to pick any of the other ones, okay, or put a new one in. That's anticipating your needs in a useful and constructive way. It's an essential part of a great experience. So I'll let you run through the rest of the things in your platforms and find the gaps that requires to be a good anticipation. Here's a hint. This is where AI comes in. An AI engine is often a necessary component matched with the PII, personal information, identified information, which allows you to anticipate and connect the dots. Let's move on to this issue of completeness. This is a little different. When we recognize we have to complete the journey for the individual, then when we traverse back from the employee experience or what we're doing for the employee or the customer, then we find huge gaps typically in our processes. We kind of get part of the way there and then require the customer to start again. So this completeness is and tracking back what you're doing for your customer so it is complete is a super useful tool to identify what you have to change. And finally, timeliness. What we've consistently found is that our customers will give a period of time, have an expectation on how quickly they need a response or have this complete experience delivered to them. And the performance of the components are super critical in that timeliness. This is what allows us to make decisions as to what we can use, what we already have, we can use, what we have to adopt, build APIs or microservices for, what we have to replace because the throughput won't do it, and what we have to add. So when you take an experience-first view and you drive that back through your platform, it illuminates what you have to invest in and only what you have to invest in, and allows you to build an experience for all 5 constituencies or 4 constituencies that allows, once built, will encourage them and have them readily want to adopt this, and hence your success will rise dramatically.